Welcome everyone to our series of Om from Home presentations for you on behalf of the club. As a runner, I want to offer you today a really nice post-run stretch workout, yoga style of breathing, combining that with our movements and our awareness of the body. This is to restore the length to the working muscles, which have tightened and shortened, become stronger. Now it's time to restore all the length and the flexibility back into the body. So the perfect time for this is a little while after the run, so you're not super hot. It's easy to injure a muscle when it's too hot. So we want to be in a little bit of a cool down. The muscles can still be warm. Maybe you've taken your shower, so that kind of loosens up the body. So we're going to start on our backs in Buddha rolls, and we will skip the usual centering exercises that we do in yoga practice. But at this time, check in a little bit and just see how you're feeling. Your breathing should be nice and smooth and easy now after a nice aerobic workout. So here we are. Take one big full deep breath in and let it go. Let's take one more big full deep breath and release it. All right, so we'll start with Buddha rolls, inhaling it as we rise and exhaling as we roll, and expanding through the chest, loosening up through the spine, just getting a feeling of what's happening from the neck all the way down to the tailbone. This is an area where we want to circulate energy and spinal fluid so that we can feel the spine is restoring itself to flexibility. Now we're going to come on up, sitting in the center of the mat, and we're going to have the feet at shoulder width apart. Let's lift the chest, take a full deep breath in, draw the shoulder blades back together, lift the chin, exhale the chin to the chest. Inhale the head all the way up, and then we're going to windshield wiper the knees side to side. So now you're checking in on the sides of the hips and just feeling any tightness or any area that's different one side to another. And taking a breath here, exhale the other side, inhale here, exhale the other side. Now we're going to sit up very tall, extending the feet in front of us. So we're going to draw one knee up, take the right knee up. You can keep the foot on the inside of that thigh, or you can cross this foot over, whatever suits you. This is a stronger depth into the hip area, and it might affect the low back. So if you have any issues back here, you can always stay right here. So I'll take it to this side now. We're going to take the arm up on the inhale. We're going to place that hand close to the hip right behind you and sit up very tall here. Inhale with the other hand, coming up and taking a spinal twist. So here we're looking over our right shoulder, taking full deep breaths to lengthen and twisting a little deeper on the exhale. Draw the navel to the spine. Holding this for 3 full deep breaths. And if you have the time in your workout session, I would recommend holding these a little bit longer. You can hold them 30 seconds. Breathing very deeply in and just checking in from that hip to the knee to see how you feel. If there's any tightness, we're going to release it now. Take a breath in. Let's shake out the legs. We're going to cross over now, left over right. Draw the chest forward. Take the big inhale. Arm comes up. Hand behind the hip. Strong and long through the spine. Lifting up on the right and crossing over. Taking the twist all the way around to the left. Inhaling taller. Exhaling, twisting deeper. Again, at least 3 full deep breaths. every breath, lengthening the spine. With every exhale, deepening your twist. And then we're going to bring that around and shake out the legs once again. Now I invite you to draw the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. And we're going to resettle the sit bone here. And we're going to come on down now into a forward fold. So lifting up tall. Big inhale. You're going to make your way forward. And now here is where some people may want to use a strap just to lengthen their reach. We're going to draw the fingertips down to the mat. Lifting forward through the heart, drawing it toward the toes. The toes are flexed. Big full deep breath in, and then when you can come no farther forward, we're going to let everything relax downward here. Now here, very important to hold this and allow the breath to open up any spaces that may remain tight and restricted from the workout. Inhaling deeply now, you might feel the space being created between the pelvis and the ribs. And then coming out very gently, we're going to bring this leg out, shake the legs out again, and we're going to reverse that position. So, foot to the inner thigh once again. Sitting up very tall on the seat bones, getting full length through the spine. Big breath in, begin to hinge forward from the hip. And reaching as far as you can. When the back won't allow any more movement, we're going to drop in. And again, finding your edge wherever that is. And allowing the body now to fold in, relax, and breathe into the space on the left hip. Lengthening through the side body here. And holding that again sufficiently for the breath to energize and open up space in the body. We're going to come out of that very gently, and we're going to take the legs to the front, shaking out the legs just a little bit here. We're going to widen the legs to the edges of the mat, wherever you find you're able to go here. So opening up a little bit through the groins, or resettling the hip seat bones into the mat. Again, lengthening upward through the spine. And then coming down forward through the center. And some of you, if you're very restricted in the back, you might take a block here. You might use that and just draw the block forward. If this is as far as you're able to go, that's fine. Maybe on the flat side, you can use that here. Or if you want to try to come on down, just walking the fingertips as far as they will allow you to go, and then folding in. We're going to hold this with our feet flexed, opening up right here through the groins. So big full deep breaths in, feeling the breath open up the back body. You may even want to draw yourself forward just a little bit farther forward. Breathing into the space now. And with every breath, you might feel the muscles starting to release like chewing gum, very, very slowly, allowing the fascia to soften and to loosen up. And now we're going to gently come on up out of this. We're going to come onto the back body once again. And I invite you then to roll down gently, draw the shoulder blades together. We're going to cross the right leg over the left and then draw both of the knees into the chest. You can take your hands around the knees, around the shin and draw that up towards you as you breathe deeply in. Once again, to focus on the hip opening right in this area here and the low back. And we'll take 3 breaths here and then open the arms to a T. Let the legs roll over to the left. And let the head roll over to the opposite side, to wherever is your edge and your comfort level. Breathing deeply in here. And after 3 full deep breaths, we'll inhale, bring it into the center. Big breath in, release the legs, and we'll cross over to the other side. Once again, draw the shin toward the body. Inhaling deeply here. Let's hold this for 3 full deep breaths. And then again, arms to a T. Let the legs roll over to the right side. Head going in the opposite direction and holding here. Allowing gravity to move the bones closer to the mat. Opening up space in the back body, the left hip. And now I invite you back to center. Let's take the right knee to the chest and extend the right leg just a bit, a couple of inches above the mat. We're going to circle the ankles here, loosening up the feet, breathing in half the circle, exhaling the other half. And then we're going to reverse that. And we'll switch legs. So again, let's circle in one direction on the breath. And then reversing it, loosening up through the ankles, allowing the feet to stretch and flex and releasing all the stress and tension from the bones and the fascia. And now I invite you to bring both of these up to the sky. And we're going to make fists with our feet here. So you're going to draw the toes in, bending the knees. And we're holding this for 12 breaths here. Now you might find this holding very tightly might cause some cramping. If the feet are cramping, it's just as you are getting used to this as an exercise for strengthening the foot. Allow the breath to go and permeate both of the feet under this tension. And then we're going to extend. So you want to open the toes as wide as you can here, maybe touching the most of the toes forward, lifting the big toe away, and then reversing that again. Just feeling what's going on with the feet, which we ignore so much, and they are the basis for our standing work and our running. So once again, let's make fists. Now in your own practice, I encourage you to use foot fists. It helps to restore the Pada Bandha, that first arch of the foot where we often find ourselves as runners having problems with plantar fasciitis. So this is a way to strengthen and fortify the foot, restoring the natural arch, strengthening the whole musculature of the feet right now. And then we're going to release it again. Let the feet be free once again, bringing them to the mat. We're going to roll up and coming into butterfly. And here again, if you're extremely tight in the low back and it's difficult to sit up tall in butterfly, drawing the heels toward you, you might want to keep the feet a little farther away from the body. So coming in as deeply as you are able, we're going to settle in through the hip bones. We're going to drop the knees And just breathe now into the space once again, allowing the knees to feel this slight pressure while you open up through the groins once again. And then we're going to release that. Legs come forward, and before we come up into standing poses, I want you to recenter into the mat. We're going to lift up tall, flex the feet, take a full deep breath in, and now hinging from the hip, we're coming into a forward fold in a seated position. So you're reaching forward, allowing the hamstrings to stretch without any sense of tension, and then folding in when you reach your edge, and let the head drop down. And here again, we want to just hold on, breathe very deeply into the whole back leg. So feeling the stretch from the Achilles, through the calves, behind the knees, all the way up through the hamstrings into the low back body. And imagine drawing your breath from the crown through these spaces and out through the feet. And then we're going to release that, and we're coming to standing on our knees. So here we are. We're going to take the right leg forward. I can leave this at 90 degrees. It's wherever you find you have an edge. If you have blocks, something you can use here for support, depending on how tight you are in the hip flexors. So wherever you can go, we're going to draw the left knee back as far as you can take that knee, as far as you're able to come. You want to stay tall through the spine. If you can do it, you can come up here to the knee. And I invite you then to reach the arms up so we're extending through the iliopsoas muscles. It's all the way through the torso into the hip flexors. Reaching up, taking the full deep breaths here. And if your back will allow and it's comfortable for you, inhale to a little back bend, lifting the chin. So a beautiful crescent moon shape here. Opening up that entire hip flexor and compressing into the low back. And then we're going to come down. Now here is where it becomes more challenging. So you can walk this foot out to the edge of the mat. You can use a block if you're only able to come down so far here. Wherever you find is your edge, you're going to bring the hands to the center on the block or not. Work the left knee back as far away from the right front foot as you can. And you're going to allow the body now to drop in, coming in, sinking in very deeply to low lizard. And we'll hold this for 3 full deep breaths, but in your own practice, again, remember to stay as long as you find you are still able to arrive at a deeper sensation, at a deeper level. So we're releasing the entire back body, the right hip, the left hip flexors. This is a universally wonderful stretch for all athletes, runners in particular. So breathing very deeply in, low lizard. And then we're going to walk the hands back, coming on out. We can walk the foot back to the center of the mat. And now we're going to reverse it. So you might, again, try with the blocks if you have them. We're going to reverse this and walk back. And then we're going to dive in very gently, bow down over the right leg. So now back into the hamstrings again and the backs of the knees. You might not need the block, it's just wherever is your edge. Finding the full extension that your body will allow today. Every day is different. And now we're gonna walk back and take this foot behind once again. Standing on the knees, get the blocks ready if you need them, and we're gonna step the left forward again. So if you were simply here, and there's not a lot of movement yet in your front to back extension, you can just press the hips forward, and that's wherever you are in the height. And again, I invite you to that full expression, whatever it is. This would be the full expression of the crescent moon, reaching all the way up, maybe adding the little back bend, breathing into the space, opening up through the whole front body, down the arm and around through the hip flexor. And then we're going to come on down to the blocks or the mat. We're going to walk the foot out to the edge of the mat. And coming into the center now, with or without a block. You can stay here. This is fine right here. And if you can go deeper, then I invite you to come on down, extending and lengthening, opening up through the groin. And the loss of pace and speed for runners comes partly from the shortening of the stride. So if you want to restore the muscles that give you your full stride length, this is the exercise you're looking for. And using yoga, we very mindfully make an assessment of the side-to-side differences, looking to restore uniformity from left to right. Now we're going to come on up, walk the foot back towards the center of the mat, maybe engage the blocks, and just reverse this. So backing in to access the hamstrings once again, coming to that place that you find your edge. And bowing in and allowing the breath now to do the work of opening through the back of the leg. Taking the time to release all the tension. And now we're going to come on up again to standing here. So from standing, I invite you to do a little balance that will help also with the hip flexor opening. So we're going to stand on left, and we're going to take the right knee up into the chest. And my surface here is not very firm, so it's a little difficult here to balance. But if you fall out, you're just coming on back in. So giving a little bit of love to the right hip flexor, stretching through the low back. Now I'm going to ask you to take the ankle, and you can come right here. So knee is close to the left knee, and you're extending now through the hip flexor again. The foot might come in contact with the butt, and just holding that here or going for a full royal dancer. A little bit more. Oh, and that's it for me today. So I might have to come out off the mat, get a little more stability. So grounding in right once again. Oh, and I didn't remind you to find a drishti. So a nice place on the floor a few feet ahead of you where you can focus your eyes and fix the eye as you then lift up, coming into balance on the other side. Giving that a little squeeze and raise that arm. Oh, and finding that sweet spot where you can hold your focus. And as a runner, there's a brief moment in the stride where we are standing on one foot only, just very briefly. So balance is important even in a sport that seems fairly straightforward. Now again, we're going to drop that knee. Getting a little balance, getting a little more stretch. And looking for a full expression. and then coming out gently. So a little balance work there for you. And now we'll come just a big sun salutation, so big breath in. And then we're gonna soften our knees, hinge forward from the hip, coming in touch with the mat now, or a block. If you're extremely tight in the hamstring, you might still wanna have something here for yourself. Otherwise, if you can do your forward fold fully to the mat, go for it. Big breath in. Inhale, halfway lift up. Folding in once again, and then inhaling all the way up. Hands to heart center. And these exercises, again, should restore a lot of what you feel was tight, got yourself a little loosened up. You want to access all the length that you have. You want to restore all the flexibility that you can find in that working body. And now refreshed and restored, you're ready to go on with your day. Thank you for joining me.